Now we're going to move on to Mercedes, a date. Her date was Armand, and she was going to be meeting with Mark Anthony and also with Anthony. And Mark Anthony's not interested in Mercedes. When I did that video a couple of weeks ago, comparing the kisses, I'm telling you then I was kind of like, I don't know, Mercedes, you need to look out for Mark Anthony. I'm not for sure. The fact that Mark Anthony was always hugged up on Jeffrey. And then this little date where he got to meet the ex, I'm pretty sure that Mark Anthony's not really interested in Mercedes. He kissed her, but she leaned into that kiss. She kind of was more the assertive one. And then when he left from the date, he basically said, bye, Mercedes. He didn't hug her. When he leaves Jeffrey, he's giving her hugs, rubbing all on her waist. When he leaves Mercedes, he's like, bye. Mercedes over here trying to be a pilot. He wants to be a pilot. Mercedes is thinking this bonds them together because they both have a passion for the same thing. No, it doesn't. Because what Mark Anthony is, like I said earlier, he wants to be the hero. He wants more of a woman that looks at him as the hero. So he wants to be the pilot. Mercedes would have been better off saying, oh, yeah, you could be the pilot and I'll be your flight attendant. But the minute she started talking about she wants to be the pilot too, that's not the role Mark Anthony wants. Mark Anthony wants a more demure, soft woman, the one he can be the hero in her life. That's why he's attracted to these sad stories of Jeffrey. That's why Jeffrey piles on the sad stories to Mark Anthony, because Jeffrey is good at reading people. And she knew that Mark Anthony was a sucker for sad stories. That's why she told him the story about her what she had, Crohn's disease, and now the story about the baby daddies. She hones in on what men's weaknesses are, and she, implants herself there, and she does it with Andre. And so Mark Anthony's not interested in Mercedes. Sorry to say it. I don't know if they'll make it towards the end or what, but because we pretty much looks like Jeffrey and Andre are going to be the couple. And maybe Mark Anthony will switch over to Mercedes, but I don't believe it'll work out because I don't really believe that Mark Anthony really likes Mercedes like that. Mercedes is a little bit too smart, too independent, not enough victim. Mercedes needs more victim stuff going on. She needs more a trauma in her life. She needs something where Mark Anthony can swoop in and save her, and she's not showing none of that. So he's not going to be attracted to her. Like I said, when he left the date, he was like, bye, Mercedes. Tapped her on the shoulder, bye. No hug, nothing. No hug, no kiss, nothing. He doesn't feel like he needs to protect Mercedes, and Mark Anthony needs that. But it didn't matter because Armand didn't like Mark Anthony anyway. Armand, the ex, didn't like Mark Anthony. He liked Anthony more. And said, Anthony knows what he wants. He's ready to settle down. He's thought it out. Anthony told everybody he was organized. He's thoughtful. He's meticulous. Anthony already told people, I think. I don't just run around and act off emotion. I think. I'm very organized, meticulous. I have a routine I follow. Anthony says, Mercedes is like his yin to his yang, where they're not actually the same. But I guess he's trying to say that they would complement each other's lives because he is more structured and maybe she's a little bit more fun, and maybe they could blend the two. I don't know. I don't really think they make a good couple. I like them both individually, but I don't necessarily believe that they would make a good couple. I don't think so. And I don't even think Mercedes was really interested in Anthony that way. I think she was more interested in Anthony once she saw this date and she saw how bad Mark Anthony fell down. Because when Mark Anthony started talking about himself, talking about, I don't care about nobody but myself, and I only need to be good for myself, Mercedes was over there looking like this. Ugh, what a horrible answer. Mercedes was over there looking like, oh, his answer is horrible. He's selfish, because she had already been feeling it. She already could tell that Mark Anthony was doing no real heavy pursuit of her. And so when she heard that come out Mark Anthony's mouth, that I need to only be a good enough for myself and not good enough for nobody else, Mercedes was like, ugh. She ain't, even Mercedes might not be interested in Mark Anthony anymore. He cute and everything. He probably getting handsome privilege. You know how you put up with stuff for men because they handsome. You put up with stuff for women because they pretty. That's what Mark Anthony is getting by on. Because honestly, I really haven't seen too much Mark Anthony's bringing to the table. I don't know. He ain't really charming no women. And the only reason he stuck to the side of Jeffrey the way he is because he's addicted to saving women. He want to be a Captain Save-A-Hoe. That's it. So really, he getting something out the deal with Jeffrey. That's what he's doing. He's over there to get something, to feed his ego. But he ain't over here really doing too much for anybody. Mercedes, move on, girl. Your man ain't on the show. Your man ain't on the show. I like you, Mercedes, but your man ain't here. You're going to have to keep on looking out there in the Miami streets. Sorry. When Armand asked Anthony and Mark Anthony, what are your negatives? And Mark Anthony said, well, I can be stubborn and hard-headed. Basically, I do what I want to do, when I want to do, how I want to do it. We already know that. That's what I said. Mark Anthony ain't thinking about nobody else but himself. No one but himself. That's why he ain't gonna be no stepdaddy to Jeffrey's kids. Please. Like he just told you, I do stuff for me. I ain't doing stuff for me, you, and your 3 kids. That ain't going nowhere. Mark Anthony said, I can be stubborn and hard-headed, basically, and selfish. We might as well add that to it, Mark Anthony. And Anthony said, you know what, I can be a little bit too cautious and not open up enough and really take risks. There you go. This is why Anthony has been so cautious with women. And women keep saying, hey, I need you to jump off the diving board. I need you to go full throttle. I need you to do this. But Anthony's telling you, I'm cautious. I take my time. I think about it. I trust a man that thinks more, though, than I trust a man that just acts off emotion. I like a thinker because that means they thought it out. They've already thought about their pros and their cons. So when they do choose you, you know it's just not a whim. You just know they just not following some little running through their small head down below. They working with this big head up top. I like a man that thinks. That's more solid. And that's what Anthony tries to say. I don't just chase women to chase women. I think about stuff. And that's what I like about Anthony. So, you know, hey, I don't know, maybe Anthony and Mercedes will get together, because I do think that Anthony likes Mercedes. I think that of all the women, I think Mercedes is one of the women that he likes. I think he's starting to get turned off with Cynthia, with the whole thing with the toxic daddy, because I know for sure Anthony don't want no toxic men in his life, period. None.